Okay, I hope you're all still awake. It's been a long but fascinating day. My presentation will consist in part of a live demo, so if that doesn't work, I'm sure that will wake you up. But fingers crossed it will. So I'm going to talk to you today about something which Mendeley has just launched a few weeks ago, and it's called Mendeley Stats. Mendeley, mostly known as a reference manager to most of you, I think, is now evolving into a social network for researchers. And part of that social network is that we want to give researchers a way to measure their own impact with a feature we call Mendeley Stats. So let me first give a little bit more introduction about what Mendeley is at the moment. It's a cross-platform application which has more than 4 million global users. We acquired it in 2013 because we felt that it had a lot of potential to grow into something more. So Mendeley has a few things that users can do with it. At the moment, users can organize their papers. So they can compile a personal library of materials, they can structure it as they like, and they can keep track of different papers that they are reading. It also has a collaboration aspect. People can create a personal profile in Mendeley, they can become a member of groups, and within those groups they can share reference materials, they can exchange ideas, and they work together with others. They can also find other researchers across the world that have the same research interest as them. And Mendeley also has a word processor plugin that helps to easily create citations, of course, which is important for the reference manager side of things. So, measuring publication impact. I'm not a bibliometrician, I'm not a mathematician, so I'm not going to go into the details like some of my colleagues did before of what is impact, what isn't impact. But I'm just going to say that article level metrics are an incredibly useful way for researchers to get an idea of the impact of their own work. And at Elsevier, we of course already have a lot of existing products which can help to get that information. So we have a full text platform, Science Direct, where we can have a lot of information about article usage. We have Scopus, bibliographic database that gives us citations. We have Mendeley, and from Mendeley we can get a lot of data about which people shared which paper in their groups or saved a paper in their libraries. And we have Newsflow. Media mentions were mentioned a couple of times before today. Newsflow is a small startup consisting of 2 people that we acquired this year. And it's a media monitoring tool that has an algorithm for finding media mentions, of course based on the DOI, like many others do. But they're also redeveloping their algorithm now to do it based on the author name and the journal name. So I'm going to go back in time a little bit to 2013, when we had 2 existing services for authors in place. We had Site Alert, which we launched in 2008. Site Alert is based on Scopus. So everybody who has a profile in Scopus could receive a notification when the paper had been published by a new article on Science Direct. Then a few years later, we launched Usage Alert, another email service. So we send a quarterly email to all authors when after publication of the article. And in the email, they received a link to a personal webpage per article where they could find a lot of information about the article. Those 2 services have always been really, really popular. You can see from the open rates and click rates of the emails that people really loved receiving this information. So that got us thinking, what if we would combine those services into something better, into something, a place, a website where people can find not just a citation information about one article, usage information about one article, but an actual overview of all the work that they published. So we did just that. And last year we launched a minimal valuable product, which we called My Research Dashboard. So My Research Dashboard is based on the Scopus profile. So it lists all articles that a researcher has published. And it gives early feedback on how all publications are being downloaded, shared, and cited. Depending on the article, we have a lot of information available, also about the geographic location and the research disciplines of readers, about search terms that people use to find publications. And it also gives tips and tricks for article promotion. So we developed that for a while, we tested and learned from it, and it has 65,000 users to date. But as it's a standalone product, we felt that it still wasn't good enough, and we needed to integrate it in an existing product that we already had, so that researchers didn't have to go to a lot of individual websites to find information. But they could actually go to just one place, and that place is now Mendeley, where they could get an overview of all their work and also do a lot of other activities. So that's a journey that we took. We went from content-centric solutions, alerts about individual articles, to an author-centric solution, a standalone dashboard where researchers could find information about all their article. And now we're moving away from that, and we're integrating the My Research Dashboard functionality into Mendeley and the Mendeley social profiles. And that has launched just 2 weeks ago. And I'd really like to show you what that now looks like. And if you could help me, I'm just going to end the show. Just go to, yeah, there I am. Here, David Neal. David Neal was an active researcher with over 500 publications. He's now working for Elsevier. So he's our poster boy for the demos that we do.
Is he the man who wrote the penis length paper back in Jones?
Excuse me?
Is he the man who wrote the penis length paper?
No, he's not. No. Was that another Neil? I wish he was. That would be fantastic. But sadly, no, he is not. Although he is a urological surgeon, so he might have been involved in that research, yes. He could have been. So this is his profile in Mendeley. I don't know if you were familiar with Mendeley profiles before, but it's really been restyled and redeveloped over the last few weeks. So it looks very different before. So you can add information about yourself, you can follow people, and add your publications. And this is integrated with Scopus now. So when you want to add your publications, you just have to select your Scopus ID, and all your publications will automatically populate here. If you click on download, you'll be able to download the version of your paper that's stored in Mendeley. So that's usually the author version. So that's the whole profile. I'm just going to go back up to the top and show you the stats page. There we are. So stats, first of all, gives an overview of views and citation count over time. And there's something interesting about this graph, which, by the way, you can have over the last 12 months or historical. Citations come from Scopus. So the citations in this graph are all the citations of all his articles, more than 500 articles. Views, however, come from the Science Direct platform. So this graph isn't really fair because it's comparing apples to pears. It's comparing the all his articles in the blue line to the articles that were published at Elsevier. And the way we see this is that at the moment we indeed only have information on the views of stuff that was published on the Science Direct platform, but we don't necessarily want it to be that way. So what we're doing right now is we're talking to a lot of other publishers to see if they would have any interest in joining this and in sending their usage information to Mendeley, so we could populate Mendeley stats with more data for more publishers and make this a better tool for researchers. And at the same time, of course, it gives the researchers of those journals a lot of extra value and a lot of extra exposure.
Are they agreeing? Anybody agree?
A few are quite keen, yes. Can't give you names yet. So scrolling down this list, again, you get the list of publications. You can sort in various ways. For instance, publication title, most cited, least cited. And scrolling even further down, you'll get the mentions in the media. So that's based on a Newsflow algorithm. So you'll be able to find where in the media your work has been mentioned. I'm now going to show you one specific paper to show you what an article page looks like. So here we go, stats for a specific publication. This one was published by Elsevier, so obviously we have a lot of information that we don't necessarily have yet for other publications. But this gives you the best view of what this could look like. I should mention, by the way, that this is a private page. So only David Neal can see this page. And his profile is visible to everyone, but the stats component is private. So again, you get the statistics, views and citations over time. The number of readers in Mendeley, which is the people that have saved this publication in the Mendeley library. Selected citations from Scopus. Clicking on any of these will bring you to the Scopus record of that article. People who read this are also reading. That's our article recommender. So what we did is we looked at the ScienceDirect platform and we developed an algorithm which gives us information about which articles are read by the same users. So we're giving David here information about which articles were of interest to his audience, which gives him a lot of information about in which context people are reading his articles. So then we have a world map. Where are your readers coming from? Which shows where in the world your articles were read the most. We also have the top countries. United Kingdom was the country where he got most of his readers. And the search terms. So people use these terms to find a publication on ScienceDirect. So, for instance, somebody typed prime report drug error and got to David's publication. And then last but not least, of course, the Mendeley shares. So people who have saved this article in a Mendeley library and people who have saved this article in a Mendeley group. So here we are, that's stats. Just going back up. As I said, at the moment there is a lot more information about Mendeley or about Elsevier articles in stats. But we're really looking forward to having a lot of discussions with publishers to see if they would find this of benefit to them as well. I'm just going to show you one article that wasn't an Elsevier article. It also didn't receive any citations. So you can see that, yeah, the information about this particular article isn't as rich as the Elsevier article. But of course, over time that can change because this is a relatively new article which doesn't have a lot of information yet. So this is the first version that we launched of stats. It hasn't been announced. It's a soft launch, a beta version. We're going to make a lot of iterations over the next few months to make it better, to add more data, to do user testing, to see what we need to change. Then we'll make a big splash out of it. But at the moment, we're just launching this softly, hoping that some users will sign up for it so that we can actually use those users to also get more information about how people are using this, what they're thinking of it, and how we should improve it. 2 minutes. Yeah, I'm actually almost done. Here we go. So, thank you.